Today I'm going to show you how to structure your ad account and test ad creative in 2024. And in the process, we're going to talk about targeting, budgets, cost caps, exclusions, testing cadences, all that good stuff that you guys have been asking me about. So let's not mess around, let's get straight into an ad account. What's up guys? Before we get into this, as I'm looking back at the edit, I just want to note that this is a simplified version of our setup that's meant to work for any size account. In practice, a lot of our clients have campaigns on top of these for different SKUs or promotional periods or creative sources, but almost all of them have this setup in some capacity. And I'm not by any means saying this is the only way to test, but if I was starting out with zero data in a fresh ad account, this is the setup that I would deploy. So let's get into it. And for me, this really comes down to being able to answer two questions. Number one, can I test new concepts fairly and to a point of statistical significance? And number two, once I found something that I believe to show promise or that could scale, can I effectively scale it either horizontally or vertically? And that's what this system does allow for. So I'm going to start with our testing campaign here. The objective is sales conversions. Sometimes I get asked if we ever run post-engagement campaigns to prop up some of our ads with engagement so that they seem more favorable when they move into the conversion campaigns. We do not do that. We do not want to be giving the wrong indications to the algorithm and having it optimized for people who are going to engage rather than people who are going to buy. We go for people who are going to buy from the outset. Now, the caveat to this is if you have a higher priced product where you have a higher target CPA, you may want to consider optimizing up the funnel, for example, like a view content or an add to cart to help Facebook get to a level of statistical significance and out of the learning phase quicker. Otherwise, we're pretty much exclusively sales conversions and purchases. The other caveat to this system is if you're a brand with multiple SKUs, like a jewelry brand or an apparel brand, where your AOV and your CPA will change from product to product and it will vary pretty dramatically, that's when you may want to have more campaigns than just these simple two campaigns that we've got up here. So every concept that we test is its own ad set. So for example, one ad being a 3 reasons why, like the concept being 3 reasons why, that is its own ad set. We would call that like ADCR, so the creative source being Adcrate. If this could be INT for your internal team 01, the 3 reasons why. Inside of this concept, you will have 4 different ads being our variations. We'll go into variations in a moment. We've got the testimonial mashup. So that's another concept, an overall like angle or concept that we want to test. Inside of this ad set, we've got our 4 variations. Same thing with the founder's ad. And every new concept that you want to test is its own ad set. You just dupe this out and then add the variations in. From an audience perspective, we pretty much exclusively go broad and let the creator do the targeting. Now that's probably a phrase that you've heard people band around, but I really want you to think about when you're creating your ads, the idea of the creator doing the targeting. Like if you are, say, a luxury brand, how can you think about how to telegraph from the very first frame of the ad to the exact person you're trying to speak to? So for example, if you're trying to sell like a premium home appliance, let's say like a really nice vacuum, instead of showing an average person in an average home, show something aspirational, show something like a wealthier looking person in a really nice looking home. Because then before you've even opened your mouth, like you're telegraphing visually and making it relevant to the people that we want to speak to. And all throughout the ad, we should be doing this because that's how we're going to tell the algorithm to show it to the people that we want to show it to and get relevant attention of potential buyers. So let's carry on going here. We've got attribution settings. It says 7-day click, 1-day view, and it's not letting me edit it, probably because this ad set's been scheduled already. That's what I recommend for newer accounts if you've got less data to give Facebook more data to go off of to optimize your ads. If you've already got data you're already spending pretty heavily inside the account, I would usually recommend 7-day click. That's what we use on the vast majority of our client accounts. We've got cost caps here. I don't care too much to weigh into the debate on this. We've got accounts where they work. We've got accounts where they don't work. So what I recommend is like set up a third campaign, try cost caps, see if they work for you and they align with the goals for your business right now. But yeah, I mean, it can work, it cannot. So that's all I'm really going to say. One thing that you should be doing though is implementing the proper exclusions. Now, if you do not put exclusions in place, Meta is just going to go after your existing customers, and that is not what the platform should be used for. This should be a tool to go after new customers. And if you do not exclude them, it's just going to go after the easiest sales, which is your existing customers. So you want to make sure that you have your customer list uploaded to here. You want to make sure you have your Klaviyo sync uploaded to here as well. Website viewers, website purchases, etc. As many as you can inside of here so that we can do everything that we can to not show ads to existing customers. So that's at ad set level. Let's now have a look at ad level and talk about variations, because a mistake that I see a lot of brands make with their variations is not covering enough ground. They only make little changes with their variations and they put the concept of risk as not performing. Let's have a look at this example. And I know this is not a 3 reasons why, but we've got this static. If we were to make all of our variations this same visual and just change the headline, which still is a fairly valid swing, we are putting us at risk, because what if for whatever reason that visual doesn't resonate with people, that visual doesn't stop the scroll, then suddenly whatever our headlines are and whatever else we've done good on the ad is redundant because people don't like that visual. Same thing with the visuals. If we kept the headline the same and we tested the visual on all 4 variations, if that headline sucks, then no matter what we do with the visual, people aren't going to stop and watch. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you cover a lot of different bases and really ensure that you're testing different variables across your variations. Now, an important note to make here is that some people will tell you, go and make completely different ads, different visual, different headline for every single variation. I do not want to do that because I want to be able to tell if something has worked, why has it worked? So I only want to test one variable at a time. So if you've got 4 variations for this static, I would test 2 visuals and 2 images, because then if we have a winning combination, we can say, oh, it's because of this headline and this visual, rather than trying to hypothesize, oh, we've changed 5 things on this one, 6 things on this one, and 5 things on this one. This one works, but what was the variable or the learn that we can take out of that? We don't actually know. So you want to think about, when you're making variations, about how to cover a lot of different bases to thoroughly and properly test that concept or idea that you've come up with. And a final thing from a testing perspective, all new tests are launched inside of here, even iterations. So if ADCR01 does really well and you want to iterate on it, we would call this ADCR 01.1. And I would dupe this here and I would upload it into the campaign. And that is the testing campaign. Now, once we've found something that's worked, inside of testing, what we'll do is we'll dupe it into the scaling campaign, which is an ASC with one ad set and just a bunch of top performing ads. Now, we've got clients who have between up to 50 and 60 ads inside this campaign. And I just like to leave them all on and let the algorithm decide which is the best ad. And this is where the majority of our budget is going to go to. And speaking of budgets, let's talk about them and how you're going to make those decisions inside of Ads Manager. Well, it starts with knowing your key metrics and ensuring that they align with your goals. So you want to work out for each SKU what your target CPA or target ROAS is, depending on what you regard as your primary metric for your unit economics. So in this case, we've got an $80 product with 25% blended COGS. We've typed in the rest of our costs and it costs us $30 to make the $80 product. We want a margin of 30% or $24, which means we can afford to pay $25 blended to acquire a customer. And this will obviously change depending on what your goals are. If you're in a stage of growth, this might be 15% and then your target CPA jumps to 37, 35. So you might look at this and say, all right, if our target CPA is 37, 35, we want a third-party attribution target new customer CPA of $45 or a Facebook platform CPA of $50, whatever that number is, so that you can work out how much you can spend on testing. That's where you're going to pull up your ad set budget calculator. Now, typically what you want is for each of your ad sets to be able to get 50 conversions per week. So the formula is 50 times your target CPA divided by 7. In this case, let's say we have a target CPA of $40. That's going to be an ad set daily budget. So per test, a daily budget of $286. That's what you should be aiming for every new test. And if you can't hit that, then it's not the end of the world, but it does mean it might take slightly longer for you to get your learnings. Or you could just test less higher confidence concepts so you can commit more budget to each new concept that you're testing. So what you want to do is work out how many creatives you can realistically test per month and per week, and then you can work out your testing cadence. What we normally do is we will launch ads on a Monday or a Tuesday, give them a few days to run. If they're doing really well, we'll scale them into the weekend. Otherwise, we'll leave them another 3 or 4 days before the next Monday or Tuesday, making a decision whether we want to kill, scale, or leave them as they are. Then every 3 or 4 days, we're just checking in to see, do we want to move them into the scaling campaign? Do we want to leave them as they are? Or do you want to kill them altogether? Before we wrap up, I want to cover 2 common mistakes that makes me tear my hair out when I see media buyers doing. Number 1 is when we are scaling ads, to turn the ad off in the original testing campaign. So what you can do when you've got someone that's working, yes, by all means, move it to the scaling campaign, but do not turn it off. Like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And what you can even do is you can use the testing ad set almost as a proxy scaling campaign and just like vertically scale it. So if this is at £20 a day currently, pushing it up by 15-20% to, what is that, £24? Yeah, £24, and scale this up as its own like mini scaling campaign. Because if it's working, like continue to push it. I've seen many scenarios where an ad has been moved to the scaling campaign after doing really well in testing, not done well, but continue to do well in its own little testing campaign. So please do not turn off ads if they are working. And that leads me on to my second point is when you have an ad that is the top spender inside of the scaling campaign or any campaign really, please think twice before turning it off because it's got a higher CPA. The reason that your top spending ad will sometimes have a higher CPA is because it is bearing the brunt of the spend. Trust the algorithm, it knows which ads are resonating with your customers, and chances are if your lower spending, lower CPA ad had the same amount of spend as your top spending ad, it would probably have the same or even higher of a CPA as your top spending ad. It is difficult as a marketer to look at something that is spending inefficiently and decide not to turn it off. But remember, our job is to improve the performance of the overall account, not to make every single ad that we produce hit a certain CPA or ROAS goal. If you want to find out more about that, Google the breakdown effect and read up on it because that will give you some more context. So that is the end of it. If you found this video valuable, guys, please like, subscribe. Can we get to 5K subscribers before my beard grows? Because we probably can, given that it's been 25 years and it hasn't grown yet. If you subscribe, I may be able to afford some minoxidil. So please do that. I appreciate you watching this. Thanks, and I will see you in the next one.